Let's go!
It's nice to be here and meet you guys.
Yeah, man.
My question will be, what was the weapons training like? Perrin, I guess, Marcus, you mentioned that you haven't really read the books, but Perrin's an axe wielder himself. Rand, in the early episodes, uses a bow often and then moves more to be a sword master. So what was it like training with those weapons? Is it something you've ever done before, or was it completely new to you?
Yeah, it was pretty new to me, but I think, yeah, when we started, we had kind of like quite an intense sort of stunts workshop. I think in that first episode, it kind of kicks off quite a lot. So we all
Yes,
had
it does.
fight scenes to work with. But yeah, no, it was really cool to kind of work with an axe. I think obviously is something that Perrin has a particular relationship with as we kind of move forward. But from the off to kind of work with that particular weapon was really, really cool.
I had some sword fighting in drama school, but it didn't feel like it was very useful because the kind of sword fighting we did was definitely more vicious. But I guess, like you said at first, Rand is more familiar with the bow and arrow, so I had archery training, and later on, yeah, when we all started, we all had sword fighting training.
Well, thank you, and I'm excited to see how you guys develop as fighters on the screen.
Wicked, thank you, man.
Can we go to Natasha from RT3, please?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good. How are you?
Good. How long did it take for you guys to shoot the trolloc attack in the two rivers?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
I think only the bit of Daniel only took a week on itself.
Yeah,
it took really long.
Yeah, Daniel and Rosamund had a lot. They had like the bad short straw in terms of like how many night shoots they had. I think overall, I don't know how many, like it was weeks to get.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, I think.
Couple of weeks or like 3 weeks, but it was kind of lots of different kind of battles all kind of like merging into one. So when you kind of see it, we saw episode 1, it's amazing how they jump in between. But I remember, I remember being walking around Prague, like having days off, like who's filming now, and it was still like Rosamund and Daniel were like still doing their kind of battle. So they did amazing.
Can we go to Paul, please?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You're wonderful. Well, we're so happy to have you on with us. This show is so cool, and the story is amazing. And whether or not you've read the books or not, I think it maybe doesn't even matter. This does a great job of explaining it. But like some of the best sci-fi, there are things that are, even though it's a fantastical world, there are things that we can learn or things that we can get out of this that are parallel to our lives. What is it that you suppose people will sort of think about or take away that's sort of relevant to us as well?
I do think the aspect of like, within the magical system of the Wheel of Time, there is kind of that male superiority is kind of flipped with the fact that it's only certain women are allowed to access magic. And I think, that is just something that's quite cool to see on screen and something to think about, if that power dynamic had been altered in that way, what would a world look like if men were, to put it like the underdogs essentially. So I think that's something that's quite, you can kind of think about in a contemporary aspect as well.
Yeah, and on top of that, I guess it's also because the world of the Wheel of Time is so big, and there's so many different groups of people, cultures, different beliefs, and it's just as hyper polarized and divided as our world is, I guess. And it's I guess the whole show of the Wheel of Time is about finding that balance, and I think that's nowadays in this time that is something that will be interesting to see for people.
Can we go to the Sci-Fi Talk podcast? Tony, please.
Hi, gentlemen. Great to talk to you and give Prague my best. I want to ask you both. You both are kind of, especially Perrin is carrying some baggage and some other feelings, but Rand is also carrying some things as well. Talk about that layer of your character. And I will say, speaking to Robert Jordan in '94, that he said a little bit of King Arthur is in Rand, by the way.
Yeah, Nice.
King Arthur. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
The Messiahs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of that kind of baggage or what they kind of take with them, I think for Perrin especially, you know, from the start, he has a particular relationship with violence, and it's kind of brought to him in quite a kind of ugly way kind of early on. And I think it's something that he carries throughout season 1. It's something that kind of is on his mind a lot, and something that he's very deeply kind of affected by, and he has a lot of feelings of guilt surrounding. But violence seems to keep on coming into his world, and he has to kind of realize, does he embrace kind of this animalistic side to him, or is there a civilized way that he can kind of maneuver through this world that Moiraine's kind of dragged them into?
Yeah, I think with Rand throughout this story, you know, it will this bag will become heavier and heavier. More weight is being added throughout this story, and I hope you will see what it costs, not only of Rand but of all these characters. And I guess, you know, all of these characters have to sacrifice bits and pieces of who they were in order to, you know, to what's right. And but at first, it starts in the Two Rivers, and yeah, that's where we have to start first before we go in this great arc.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
man.
you.
Can we go to Matthew from The Escapist, please?
Hey guys, great to talk to you. So there's a lot of fantasy adaptations coming out right now, as you know, streamers build up their libraries and are looking for things to jump onto, and that means there's a lot of options for people to watch fantasy now. And so if I'm someone coming from this, and you know, I watched 3 back-to-back trailers for fantasy shows with sweeping vistas and gorgeous magic and special effects, what makes the Wheel of Time stand out for that person? Why is this one special, both for you and in fantasy in general?
You know, the Wheel of Time is such a rich world with so much complexity, and it's, you know, the books are known for that. It's not for no reason that 90 million copies have been sold. Apparently, there's something in it that people can relate to, that touches them, and what that is for me is, besides of, you know, that in this world of the Wheel of Time, women are the ones who are in control. If men use the power, one power, they abuse it, or the fact that it's not simply black and white, good against evil, it's all shades of gray in between. Now, for me, what really makes this stand out is the characters, that you start to care for these characters, and that they're real. You know, they're no heroes. They have to go on this mission they never sign up for, and you can see their failures and their fears and what it costs of them, the sacrifice they have to make. And I think that's what makes the Wheel of Time special, for me at least.
Yeah, and that global cast, man. I think being able to see that they've been able to cast people from every corner of the planet, really, actors, you know, experienced actors, new actors, exciting actors who've worked in all different fields, coming together on one show like this, I think is very, very special, and I think reflects how expansive the world is in the books as well, which is really, really cool.
Thank you. And the last question goes to Eric. Thanks.
Hey, congratulations, guys, on the series. My question is, what the action scenes are so amazing in the series. Talk about a scene that was the most difficult for you to achieve, and what it was, and how you dealt with that kind of scale and size of the production that you've got here, and how you dealt with those issues.
In terms of, like, I mean, there wasn't too many kind of bumps in the road, but I think, you know, that first episode, you know, it was just so new to us, everything. So I think to have a first episode where you've got a lot of stunts and all the characters are involved. You've got a lot of background artists, supporting artists, you know, a whole village needs to be built. And then when you've got a big action scene on top of that as well, and you're very new to finding out these characters, and you know, you've got very key moments that kind of lay the foundations for these characters. It's kind of a weird kind of amalgamation of a lot of things happening at once. So I think that was quite daunting, but I think it was probably the best way to start the show, because it kind of set the tone that we, you know, there's not, the audience will realize in that first episode that you're kind of it all kind of kicks off quite quickly. And I think for actors on that, filming that first episode, it meant that we had to get a grasp of those characters, you know, their trajectories, and you know, and what they're really like in the books as well.
Can you, Josha?
Oh, I couldn't have said it better.
Nice.
Really.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, but thanks very much for your questions.
Okay. Zoe, you do a lot of swimming in the first 2 episodes that I saw. What was the weather like in Prague when you were doing that, and was it cold?
The swimming that I did in episode, I did a bit in episode 3. And that was actually in the studio. So thank goodness it was warm. They heated the pool. They really endeavored to take good care of us. So I was okay. I was okay.
Oh, good. Good. And had either of you done any sword fighting or any physical stuff before this show?
I've done stunts before on jobs, but nothing to this level. I think, you know, with horse riding and sword fighting, and it was a completely different beast on this one. We had a month of prep to do some horse riding, sessions with our movement coach, and stunts. So no, for me personally, nothing on this level.
Same with me. I also had a little bit of stunt experience, particularly with a TV show called Power Rangers. So stunts was kind of a given, but on this level is like nothing I've ever done before. It's yeah, we had an intensive boot camp to get us up to speed, and even still, we're still training with the amazing stunt team. So yeah, we all had a lot to learn.
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Natasha from JVS Media.
Hi, ladies. Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I was in the first episode, you know, Egwene is getting, you know, initiated into the women's circle. So I was wondering if there was any like traditions like within your family to like, you know, say, hey, I'm a woman now, or any kind of conversations that you've had with your moms or even women in your family that are similar to what, you know, the women's circle did in the episode.
Yeah, thank you. That's such a wonderful question. I'm Aboriginal, so I'm a First Nations person of Australia, and there definitely is initiation ceremonies that both men and women do to welcome women or men that are of age in a community. So that was very special, seeing that this was part of a tradition and culture in the Two Rivers. Absolutely, I definitely have grown up in a very matriarchal family. So, you know, there's always been conversations about when you're coming of age, and also, you know, I really look up to the women in my family. They're all such pillars of strength. And that's something that we see in this show as well. So, you know, I feel like my life and my heritage was a wonderful preparation for what I would find in this series.
That was for Zoe too.
Oh, sorry. Similar to me, I have some incredible women in my family. I do remember some very deep and meaningful and raw and honest conversations I had with my mum as a teenager that, you know, got me up to speed with real life and what to expect. But I can't say I had anything similar to pushing someone off a cliff like Naomi does to Egwene. So yeah, my conversations were a little bit more tame.
Using words, I guess, more than force. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul from AM/FM magazine.
Yes. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good,
Great, thank you. How are you?
Hey, we are so happy to have you on for the show. And of course, you make it look like the most fun job in the world. And sometimes it can be. But some of these things look like they were kind of difficult to do. I'm curious to know, like, what kind of headspace do you have to put yourself in, or is there something you have to tell yourself to sort of keep on the right path and keep in the right mindset to, to do everything that you do?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know. I mean, for me, my process, I like to know where my character has just been and also where she's going. So that's really helpful to stay present in the moment. I think we've all had a lot of experiences of really traumatic scenes emotionally and physically, and it becomes very draining. So learning how to prepare yourself before then and being kind to yourself and resting and loving on yourself is really important. But I think a lot of us just immerse ourselves completely. I don't know if that's the the best way to do it in terms of looking after ourselves, but I mean, I look around at the work that everyone's putting in, and everyone just gives their absolute all to some very hard requirements. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something that you said there, which was, just completely immersing ourselves. I think it is an art form of trying to getting in that character's headspace and just completely staying there in the scene, which can be difficult. But when you have a group of actors that you trust, writers, directors that you can trust to care for you and your craft, you feel safe enough to kind of push those boundaries, whether that's physically or emotionally. But it's been amazing to lose ourselves with these characters and just what they go through.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tony from Sci-Fi Talk Podcast, please.
Hi, ladies. Great to talk to you. For both of you, what's the relationship like from each of your perspectives, from Ninue and also Egwene on the series? We can start with Zoe.
what's my relationship like?
Yeah, what is your characters' relationships with each other?
Right. Yeah, Nynaeve and Egwene's relationship is really special. It's definitely like a sisterly bond, but it's much more than that. It's I don't know. I think we haven't seen a relationship like this on screen. I think it's a really beautiful relationship to explore, this purely platonic sisterly love. I mean, for Nynaeve, she will do absolutely anything for Egwene. She thinks the world of her. She sees her potential and just wants nothing but the best for Egwene. And I think that's a really beautiful thing that our show is doing, is really highlighting how important these real and truthful relationships are, especially when they want each other to succeed and do well. I think it's nice to celebrate those types of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Egwene really looks up to Nynaeve as a mentor and as like a big sister, and they really support each other and champion each other. And I think, like Zoe said, wanting the other to succeed and do well and is what gets them through. A lot of the time they survive to make sure the other one lives, which is really wonderful. They'll do anything for each other, and it's such a wonderful bond. Like Zoe said, that I think, sometimes particularly in this genre that we might not necessarily see.
Thank you, ladies. You both are killing it. I'm really enjoying performances.
Oh, thank you very
so
much.
Thank you.
And Matthew from The Escapist.
Hi, thanks for being here today and answering the questions. For you, what's your favorite part about this world that the Wheel of Time takes place in? What stands out to you about it, and makes you excited about the show and being in it?
I think for me, the the level of specificity and detail Robert has obviously put into the world, but in particular the characters. I mean, for me, it hasn't been much of a struggle to try and access Nynaeve because there's so much on the page already. There's so much to work with. There's obviously so many resources. There's 14 books, as we all know. So it's you know, whenever, if in doubt, we can search for anything that we're not sure of. But Rafe has also been an incredible expert and help with us. So yeah, definitely the characters. I've never played a character so fleshed out and just real. I think what makes them so beautiful is that they're so relatable. They're real humans with complexities and flaws, and they're not the greatest at times, and you question a lot of their motives and their actions. But yeah, I think that's what makes them so great.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just, you know, real people in a very fantastical, epic world. And I think that's what makes them such lovable characters, is that we can all find a bit of them in ourselves and relate to them. And, you know, exactly like Zoe said, the detail that Robert Jordan has given us with his work is, you know, I remember the first day we walked onto the set of the Two Rivers, and it was exactly how I pictured it from reading the books. So, you know, I think reading this story and then seeing it come to life and seeing other, you know, artists' interpretations and their collaborations on the characters or the worlds has been amazing to just see and be immersed in it.
And finally, Eric from
You interviewed.
You Interview. There you go. Thank you.
So congratulations to both of you on the series. You've gotten to live with these characters now for a while. What's one thing that you hope that the audience takes away about your character that maybe they don't see quite on the screen?
I think
that's a great question.
Yeah, thank you. I think with Egwene, I've certainly grown with her. She has this sort of sense of self and determination, and she knows her self-worth, which I've definitely learned a lot about from her, from playing her. You know, I really hope that audiences can also picture themselves in this world and also relate to our heroes and what they go through.
Yeah, and for Nynaeve, I hope people can understand her motivations and why she acts the way she does is often because of her deep, intense love for the people that she's with. She will do anything for the Two Rivers kids in particular. And oftentimes I think, you know, book readers question whether they are aligned with what Nynaeve does and how she thinks and her as a character, but I personally get her and love her. So yeah, I'd love for people to understand all the complexities and the nuances that our characters have underneath.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. So we'll just start to move you out now.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.